Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Plenty of reasons why Cam Hayward is clarifying his remarks about Aaron Rodgers. Cameron Hayward sure sounds like he is walking back his comments about potential new teammate Aaron Rodgers. During his Not Just Football podcast last week, Hayward was asked about the drawn-out discussions regarding the Steelers' vacant starting quarterback job. I think, sigh. I want to play football, Hayward told co-host Hayden Walsh. I'm tired of talking about the quarterback situation. I'd rather have it done. I don't know what ends up happening. I don't know, man. This is, ugh. I'm ready to move on in free agency. There is too much going on. Specifically, Walsh asked Hayward if he'd be willing to do one of Rodgers' darkness retreats to convince the quarterback to come to Pittsburgh. I ain't doing that darkness retreat. I don't need any of that crap, Hayward shot back. Either you want to be a Pittsburgh Steeler or you don't. It's that simple. That's the pitch. If you want me to recruit. That's the recruiting pitch, Pittsburgh Steelers. If you want to be a part of it, so be it. If you don't, no skin off my back. On Wednesday's Good Morning Football on the NFL Network, Hayward mollified those statements from his own podcast, insisting that they were misconstrued. That's not quite Charles Barkley claiming he was misquoted in his own autobiography. But it's close. I was asked the question of, would you go to the lengths of going to a darkness retreat to recruit Aaron Rodgers? I said, I'm not doing that. The pitch is, if you want to be a Steeler, be Steeler, Hayward told Kyle Brandt. That's all it was. It wasn't meant that I don't like Aaron Rodgers. As Hayward continued speaking, he endorsed the idea of Rodgers coming to Pittsburgh. When I look at our team right now, it would be really cool to have a guy like Aaron Rodgers, Hayward added. But I can't be the guy who gets it over the finish line. I think he's got to make those decisions for himself. But, I'm excited to see what happens. Hayward insisted that he hasn't had communication with Rodgers, but he was in the building when the former Jets and Packers quarterback had his 6-hour meeting at team headquarters. I was actually with some strength coaches that day, Hayward revealed. I think they were trying to get everybody out of the building so they could just have a conversation with him. Brandt asked what Hayward would say to Rodgers if given the chance. I would just say, if you come to the Pittsburgh Steelers, the goal is to win, Hayward replied. We haven't had the success we want, but the goal is still in mind to raise a Lombardi and bring that 7th one to Pittsburgh. We don't really care about the glitz and glam of New York. But, the focus is on good, hard football. Compete, and every day, challenge each other. Well, neither Hayward nor Rodgers have to worry about the New York factor now. The Jets have moved on from Rodgers in favor of former Steeler Justin Fields, and the Giants decided to acquire another former Steeler, Russell Wilson, instead of waiting on Rodgers' decision any longer. This is the second time Hayward has tamped down his comments about Rodgers since they blew up the internet last week. He did so on Friday's Rich Eisen show as well. I just said I was not going to go on a darkness retreat to recruit him, Hayward told Eisen. I don't know why everybody thought, oh, Cam's really going at him. Some fans felt like, oh yeah, keep doing that. Other fans felt like, oh, man, you're really gonna scare him off. I'm not scaring anybody off. I just want to win games and play good football. Gee, I wonder why Hayward is sanitizing his initial quotes? Could it be that when Hayward made those comments on March 18, he wasn't exactly privy to how far along the discussions were with Rodgers and that the Steelers were closer to getting a deal done than what Hayward thought? Not only that, but perhaps Hayward was also leaving the door open for a potential return by Wilson and didn't want to make it look like he was booting last year's QB out the door for a new flavor of the month. At that point, it's quite possible Hayward was unaware of how unlikely it was that Wilson was going to return for a second year in Pittsburgh regardless of Rodgers' decision. I don't think it is too conspiratorial to suggest that someone from the franchise could have gotten in Hayward's ear after hearing those remarks and said, "Hey, Cam, this deal with Rodgers is probably happening. You may want to clear the air before things get off on a bad note." Pittsburgh Steelers fintech stadium sponsor Acrisure enters English cricket. Fintech and insurance firm Acrisure has entered English cricket, striking up a partnership with Nottinghamshire County Cricket Club. The Michigan-based firm, parent of Nottingham-based Russell Scanlon, will see the Trent Bridge Fox Road stand at the England International Level Stadium renamed the Acrisure Stand for the next 3 seasons. It will add to their sporting portfolio, which includes the naming rights to Pittsburgh Steelers NFL Stadium in Pennsylvania. Acrisure also has the naming rights to Thousand Palms Indoor Arena in California, home to the American Hockey League's Coachella Valley Firebirds. "We are delighted to welcome Acrisure into our Trent Bridge family," Nottinghamshire's chief executive Lisa Pursehouse said. Having enjoyed a long-standing, mutually beneficial relationship with Russell Scanlon, we're pleased to be able to strengthen our partnership through their parent company. By featuring both as stand sponsor, on the sleeves of the Blazes playing shirts, and with aspirations to work alongside the club to engage with the Nottinghamshire community, Acrisure has shown a real commitment to our sport and our venue, and we look forward to working together over the coming years. Extended Acrisure deal. The deal will see the firm featured on the sleeves of Nottinghamshire's women's team the Blazes shirts, as well as seeing one of Trent Bridge's stands named after the firm. Acrisure will see their branding at Trent Bridge across the county season, but Nottinghamshire's ground will also open the men's test summer as England welcomes Zimbabwe in May. Trent Bridge will also host a T20 international between England men and South Africa in September and a women's T20 against India. Mark McElcooham, Acrisure UK chief, said, "We feel that there's a strong cultural alignment between NCCC and Acrisure, an international venue, a strong commitment to community outreach and a proactive approach to the development of women's cricket in the UK." Additionally, Russell Scanlon, Nottingham's longest-established insurance broker, founded in 1881, is one of Acrisure's most valued partners, and oldest globally. They have had a close supporting relationship with NCCC and Trent Bridge for over 25 years. It seemed wholly appropriate that Acrisure looked to expand on that partnership between two heritage brands, build on that shared history, whilst supporting impressive plans for the future of the club and the venue. Steelers could lose Aaron Rodgers to retirement, insider says. "I'm hearing he might not want to play." New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers, 8, passes against the Indianapolis Colts during the first quarter of an NFL football game, Sunday, November 17, 2024, in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Adam Hunger, Associated Press. It sounds like the Pittsburgh Steelers could lose out on Aaron Rodgers to retirement. Rodgers, who visited the Steelers facility last week, now has to decide between the Steelers and retirement. Adam Schefter of ESPN joined ESPN Milwaukee to talk about Rodgers, and said that he is hearing Rodgers may not want to play anymore. "They both need each other right now, frankly," Schefter said of the Steelers and Rodgers. "But that's if Aaron wants to play. But I'm not convinced yet that he does. I'm hearing he might not want to play." If Rodgers is leaning even into the question of retirement, that leaves the Steelers in a limbo where they could be left in the dark, and as a result, pivot to Mason Rudolph as the starting quarterback. Rodgers has dealt with a lot of injuries over the last few years of his career, including a season-ending torn Achilles in 2023. Even last year, Rodgers battled through season-long knee and hamstring ailments that forced him to be in pain for much of the year. For a player that is no longer at the peak of his powers, it is completely rational for Rodgers to potentially retire. Of course, taking a visit to Pittsburgh and getting to know their coaching staff does not point to a player that wants to retire, and Rodgers told the Jets before they cut him he wanted to keep playing. The longer it carries on, the worse the outlook is for the Steelers, who have signaled to Rodgers they are okay with waiting. Yet, there are 2 scenarios, even without other teams, that could leave the Steelers without a dance partner. Are you a fan? What do you think about the Aaron Rodgers situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.